everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the Destination podcast. You all know me by now. I'm Destin Richardson. To my left or to my front, whatever. Directions are hard. Is DJ Tammi.
Woohoo!
I'll say DJ Tammi has seen a lot of me in the last year or so. She runs many karaoke spots in the greater Newark area. But she's been jockeying disc as well. I had to remember what DJ stood for. And MCing. So thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. Again, very important woman in my life. I'll say because I made it my rule that I only drink when I'm either doing like comedy or I'm doing karaoke. So because of that, I make it a point to go to karaoke like 3 or 4 times a week.
Perfect.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll go ahead and I gotta ask. So, what made you want to get into the DJ karaoke business?
So, believe it or not, I actually hated karaoke up until like 4 years ago. I'd go to a bar, it'd be karaoke night. I'd be like, nope, and turn around and walk right out. Right?
Yep.
Not my jam. Well, my best friend, her name was Amy. She started dating a guy who ran a karaoke company. He was also a mutual friend. I kind of got them together. And of course, she wanted to impress him. So she's like, let's go to his shows. And he was doing shows at a bar in Granville that's not there anymore. And so we kept going. I never sang because I was just like, it was like, all right, it's okay. Not really my thing though.
Yeah.
And then he asked me, hey, do you know any local spots here in Newark that might be interested in doing karaoke? We're looking to branch out because most of their shows were in Columbus. And that market is obviously, with comedy, like that market's super saturated. There's bars everywhere. You could find a karaoke spot any night of the week in Columbus, right? So looking to branch out, trying to find some more Central Ohio, Licking County venues. And I happened to get him in touch with a bar owner in town. And I started going to that show, not only to support this new bar, but also to support my friends. And got really drunk one night and was like, I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to go up there. I'm going to sing a song. Mm-hmm. I think I sang Pour Some Sugar on Me, but I don't know, one of those like karaoke staples. And I was
Benny
like, yeah, of course. Sweet Caroline.
Yeah.
Ba,
ba, ba.
And, I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. I kind of enjoy doing the whole karaoke thing. And then to get into the hosting, that bar that I told you about that was in town, I had a dream that I was like, not like Martin Luther King had a dream, but like an actual like dream that
big distinction.
Yes, that I was hosting karaoke in that bar. And I was like, well, And the host that was doing it lived in like the south side of Columbus. So he was coming almost an hour every week to do that show. So, and they were kind of getting burned out of doing the commute. So I said, well, let me host it. And they were kind of like, yeah, we'll try it out. We'll see how. And immediately just kind of took to it. I went training, learned how to do it. Worked for a company for like 3 years. Mm-hmm. And then this past year, I made that decision to start my own business and do my own thing.
Okay, so I didn't realize that your karaoke origins are also quite similar to mine in the fact I started out hating it because I went to college for vocal music. I went to Bowling Green. And so the idea of karaoke was so beneath me.
Right.
It was peasant trash. And I did it once when I was 16. I did it at a girl's birthday party. Because I was like, I'm going to really impress her with my rendition of Man, I Feel Like a Woman. Her dog attacked me.
I was going to ask if it worked. So
it did not work at all. I got the wrong bitch there. So I didn't do it till then. And then, like I said, went to college, learned how to sing classical opera and music theory out the ass and all that. And then when I was 21, I went to Nashville with my parents. And it was my first like real vacation where I had like spending money. And we go, and of course Nashville, most people know, has something going on in every bar,
Right.
restaurant. Hell, they have open mics and gas stations there. I mean, it's a live entertainment mecca. So we started out at BB King's Blues Bar, actually. And my mom, like, I order a Crown and Coke because they had like a poster for like Crown Black at the time. And my mom does this like brings the waitress in and whispers. And then I get my Crown and Coke, and there's no fizzy bubblies. With the Coke in it, there's supposed to be fizzy bubblies. There was no fizzy bubblies. And it was pretty much just like 5 shots of Crown.
Nice.
And then we go to the next place. I was like, well, I don't want that to happen again. I'm trying to pace myself here. Let me get a beer. My mom does come on into the waitress and gets a bucket of bottles of beer. I'm like, oh, man. The next place I remember was Margaritaville. And there, I already think I was already knowing what my mom was trying to do. But I was even like, hey, why are you giving me alcohol poisoning? And she's like, we want your first time to be drunk to be with us. And I was like, okay, we'll live in that world.
Right.
This is my first time. But then, yeah, I had a picture of margarita to myself. And that's the last thing I remember. I was told the next morning that there was a live musician at the Margaritaville, but they took like a 2-hour break where they let a KJ fill in the time. And again, hoity-toity elitist opera singer would have never thought of karaoke, but blackout drunk Destin was like, let's go karaoke. And I go up there, I'm like, it's Nashville, I should do some country, even though by that point I was like just mainlining like metal and rap. Like, so I was so removed from country. But when in Nashville.
Yeah. Naturally.
Sleep with your cousin.
Yes.
That's how the saying goes, I think. But I go up there and I'm like, that was Al Brown Bear. Now he's a KJ in Nashville, so he speaks Drunkenese, obviously. So
I'm pretty fluent myself.
He heard Zach Brown Band. So you only need like 4 of the consonants there. You can piece the rest. It's like listening to a Pearl Jam song. Like you know all the vowels. You just need to listen for the few couple consonants he throws in there. So I was like, sugar fry. And I point. Now, apparently, I had pointed at colder weather, and his Drunkenese was off. So he starts playing Blackout Drunk Me. And I don't catch on that I'm not singing the wrong song. I got halfway through the chorus the second time around, and I literally got vaudevilled off stage. Somebody actually came up and carried me off the stage. Now, my parents took a video of it.
Nice.
And thank God they did the hangover thing where they deleted it after I saw it the first time. Even now, like in hindsight, I'm like, if I ever made the mistake of getting married, that is like reception gold.
Yes, absolutely.
But yes, they deleted it. But yes, me hearing the video of me singing Chicken Fried in Colder Weather was the first time I'd ever heard the song Colder Weather. So
would that work up as a mashup? Now I'm starting to think about that. Like, could you with chicken fried colder weather or colder weather chicken fried?
I'll say because colder weather really makes me want some chicken fried.
For sure.
Yeah,
and Xanax.
I'll say it. Yes. Well, warmer weather makes me want Xanax. Colder weather, moderate weather, rainy weather. Yeah. Just oxygen in general makes me want Xanax. So yeah, and then once I was like humiliated by that, I'm like, the fall from grace. I was like, I need to redeem myself. I need to go do karaoke, and no, I'm doing it. Damn it! And when I went back to, I almost said the States. I mean, like Nashville's its own country.
Yeah, of course.
So I go back to Ohio. My buddy from Bowling Green hit me up about just going and hanging out with them. So I was like, all right, neutral ground too. Like most of my Bowling Green people already moved since then. I did My Way by Sinatra because I was like, I'm going to do one I know I can like murder. And so I did that and, got applause and everything. So I was like, I redeemed myself. Thank God, finally. And my buddy's like, yeah, I did a good job. He's like, you doing another one? I'm like, yeah, sure. Might as well now. So I go up in the KJ I don't know if this was like her song that she's so burnt out on that she's heard My Way forever. But when I went up there, she like very sarcastically was like, and what lively toe tapper are you doing next? And I was planning on doing the actual lively toe tapper, but immediately I'm like, Creep by Radiohead, because you pissed me off.
Right.
So, but yeah, so there's my karaoke origins, and then I hosted it myself too for a couple of years.
That's right.
I'm so glad that you do it now. It was a whole lot of work for. I didn't get a lot of reward out of it. You do though. You have amazing people that support you everywhere you go. You have an army.
I do.
I'll say like you're going to be right up there with the Swifties and the Kiss Army here in a couple of years. So
we got to think of a cool name for my little karaoke followers.
The Tam Fam.
The Tam Fam. I like that.
Yeah.
All right, guys, heard it first. Be a part of the Tam Fam.
Be part of the Tam Fam. By the way, I get 5% of all merchandising.
We're gonna make some shirts.
Some
koozies.
Did you say some shorts?
No.
I heard sharks.
I said shirts, but
okay.
I mean, when in Nashville.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You drink enough, shirts become sharks.
That's very true, especially at Jugs.
Yes. Speaking of, we christened the new room there as well. That was very loud room.
It is a very loud room.
I
like that.
I like it.
I do.
Yeah. I'm half deaf, so I love when I can actually hear myself. So.
I think they might have done that on purpose, to be honest. They're like, yeah, we wanted new seating, but I genuinely think they were like, you know what? If we put the karaoke people in their own room, they can do their own thing. They're out of the way. And not like it's a bad thing. Honestly, I think it's great that we have our own little room. I've always dreamt of hosting in a place where karaoke was so like appreciated and they wanted us to have our own room and our place to do our thing. So I've affectionately called that Wing and Jugs the karaoke corner. Nice. So if you ever come to a show, you'll be able to, especially when the weather's not cooperating, we'll be able to be in the karaoke corner. I'm glad they did it, but I'm just like, man, why did you do it so close to warmer weather? Like that would have been great all this winter, right? Yeah. But I can't wait to party on the patio too. That's that is my favorite. Like when we can do it outside and be spread out and not sitting on one, like on top of each other. I think that's a lot better too. Yeah.
I'll say, thank God your name doesn't start with a K, because then the karaoke corner could be problematic. But
no, we're not.
Don't make shirts of that.
Yeah, sharts. No sharts of that.
It is great. Like, yeah, Jug specifically, I can tell really does appreciate the karaoke. And like, part of the reason I especially wanted you on the podcast anyway is because karaoke gets such a bad rap. Because people, you hear karaoke, the first thing that pops in your head is, drunk college age kids screaming in a microphone. And don't get me wrong, of course, still happens. But no, I mean, when done right, like I like to, I'm out there trying to convert people into the karaoke ways as well. But yeah, it's something that doesn't get the appreciation it deserves.
And because you've done it and you've hosted it and you've been on both sides of it, right? As a singer and as a KJ and as a host, there's a lot of work that goes into it. It's not you just go and set up. I mean, there's thousands of dollars worth of equipment, especially if you want nice equipment that's going to hold up, because if you do multiple shows a week, it's a lot of tear down, a lot of setup, a lot of wear and tear on your gear. So you got to have nice gear, which isn't cheap. You have to stay with the times, essentially. Like you have to know, you got to have all the new music, right? Like all the 90,000 Taylor Swift songs that come out every week. And,
to match the 90,000 boyfriends.
Yes, to match. And when she breaks up with one, there's going to be a whole new album that drops the month later. So you got to prepare for that as well. So there's a lot of money that goes into it that I don't think a lot of people sometimes takes in consideration. They're just like, oh, it's fucking karaoke night, right? So a lot of work that goes into it. I take a lot of pride in it because you have to build that following, right? Karaoke is a dime a dozen. You can go pretty much, we could leave right now and go to a karaoke show. I know where there's one, right? So you have to kind of do something that's going to set yourself apart from everyone else. Whether it's have a good show, be personable, not be a dick, be in good venues that people feel comfortable, especially females, right? Females, if you have females in your bar, men are going to come. So there's kind of a science to it. There's definitely a science to it. And I don't think a lot of people take that into consideration. And yes, you're going to have your drunk, but you're going to have that in any bar. You know, there's going to be the drunk, obnoxious people. But I think for the most part, especially in the Tam fam, we're very respectful of one another. We all get along really well, and we have a great time at every show.
Also, some good quality singers in the Tam fam.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like I sing, I wish more people would hear like good karaoke. I mean, there's again us lost choir kids that that's. Unfortunately, with the real world the way it is, the way adult life is, sometimes that's what kind of anchors us back to that time in our lives. And also, I just like hearing myself sing. But
sure.
Also, I like to think of some attachment too. Speaking of, did you do choir in high school?
I did not.
You did not?
I am not a singer. I was a band kid.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
So away.
Still musically, but not singing at all.
Yeah. So speaking of band, I also was in band, and we'll clear up. We're doing a lot of clearing up of records on this episode. So, record number 1 that we want to clear. Nothing cool happens at band camp. Nothing. Just sweating and miserable and standing in place while the director tells you where to go, and he's
Where did you guys have band camp? Did you have it at the school, or did you actually go down to Hawken College?
So my freshman year was like the year that we started doing it at Newark High. Exactly. So like the grade 4 me got to go to Hawken.
Yeah.
Which maybe that's also where you get some cool stories from band camp. But yeah, when you live 5 minutes away, you're not doing any cool hijinks afterwards. The flute is staying only in your hands at parade rest.
It's also true.
Yeah,
I play the flute, so I know.
It's on your lips, but that's
you're blowing it. Wait,
you are. Yeah,
this is going down.
Yeah, you're blowing and you're fingering. Yeah. I was my last 2 years I was a French horn player, so I was one of the horny ones.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
Nothing cool happens at band camp. Now, I did go back for a few years after I graduated as an instructor, like as a graduate instructor.
Yeah.
That's actually where the stories happened, to be honest, because we were still down at Hawken College at that time. So after the kids would go to bed, we'd go down. At the time, the only thing that was really close by was like a BW3s, right? So we would go down to BW3s and drink, and I don't know if I should tell the stories, but we would get drunk and people would start making it. It would be almost like high school all over again. Like the instructors would start hooking up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like pretty much the moment you graduate, all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, that person had sex, to where it's like, what the hell? You only do missionary? It's like you don't use mask. It's such a shift.
Yes.
Definitely none of that cool stuff happened to me until I was 22. But I like I said, I was in marching band and I absolutely hated it. I wanted to quit my freshman year, and my mom was like, "No, I'm not raising a quitter. You're sticking it through." I'm like, "Mom, you made me quit karate to do this," and I was like, "You made me quit the one that's actually like gonna help me out in the future."
Yes, in hindsight, probably should have stuck with karate. Right?
Yeah, because like I'm a comedian, like I'm gonna offend people. I need to know how to fight in a parking lot. Like that's.
Well, now you can bust out your French horn and play them on jazzy tunes.
Exactly. Yeah, I can soundtrack my own beating. That's all I can do now with my.
No, I think that's great.
Well, now I'll sing. Do you really want to hurt me? Do you really want it? Yes, we really want it.
Yeah.
So you just played flute though. Didn't really sing until you got up the.
No, in the shower in the car only. That was really it. I never really thought about oh, let's get up in front of a bunch of drunken strangers and sing a song horribly and learn to love it and do it as a profession.
Yeah. Like I said, once I finally redeemed myself, then I did get the bug, and I started out just singing, and then it just worked its way into like a KJ. I didn't actively seek it out, and I was lucky I didn't have to get my own equipment to do it, because as I'm finding out this year now that I'm buying like live equipment for like my comedy shows, holy shit, is equipment a expensive rabbit hole.
Absolutely.
And the worst part is every time I'm like thinking about upgrading, getting some good accessory. Like it is like addictive once you start getting like good equipment. So yeah, I'm glad I was just leeching the equipment off of the previous place. But no, because like you said before, you had to have something that makes your karaoke sort of stand out. I took my my skills as a comedian, as a performer, and like we were a party. And for some people know that like when I'm not on the mic, I'm incredibly like awkward, reclusive, kind of very introverty. So like the idea that I was like conga lines and like doing shots on stage and everything, it's kind of crazy. But that was because the previous KJs that I had seen there, they were they just played by the books. They kept it safe, and so I was like, well, I need to do something to set me apart from that. Now, in hindsight, was I obnoxious? Absolutely. Did I enjoy it? Absolutely. You saw part of one thing I did. There was a bartender. She announced that she was leaving. She was like the karaoke shift bartender. When she announced she was leaving, I was like, we should do something special for her. So the boys, Peter and Cam and I, we were like, let's do Higher by Creed. And I was like, I'll get a bunch of like box fans and we'll set them up at the edge of the stage and then have our shirts blowing majestically in the background. Because even though that wasn't technically the music video but anytime you hear Creed, that's just what you picture.
I do now.
Like, yeah, he like Scott Stapp in his prime was shirt blowing majestically in the breeze, doing his bootleg Eddie Vedder. So I was like, we need to do that. Now, of course, the other two chickened out when it came to the time. I showed up. I'm like, where's your white button ups? And he's like, yeah, we're not doing that. So it was just me.
Oh, okay.
But
that sounds about right.
Yeah, because I only have confidence in areas I should not have confidence in, and then the vice versa, where I should be confident, I'm not. I'm backwards. But yeah, I mean, it was like I said, it was fun in a way, but I'm glad that I can just be there as a customer now, basically.
Yes. Karaoke is way more fun when you're not working it. And that's why I sometimes go to other shows. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are like, oh, are you there to like critique the KJ? And I'm like, absolutely not. I'm like, some of my really good friends host karaoke, and I love going to their shows because they're a lot of fun, or they have a great sound, a great catalog. I mean, there's so many reasons why you seek out certain karaoke shows, right? But I personally have more fun when I don't have to sit there and worry about everything and keep control of that show and make sure it's almost like herding cats sometimes. Like you have to keep the drunk people away from your $7,500 equipment and, all that kind of stuff. So it's way more fun, I think, when you're on the other side of that table.
Yes. Yeah, it's a whole lot of fun just shotgunning beers out on the patio and then coming in and singing Brooks and Dunn. That's a lot more fun.
Absolutely.
But so anyway, I also, to sort of shift here, but we'll come back to some more karaoke in a bit though. So also you are a big supporter and lover of wrestling too.
Absolutely.
Where did that come from?
So a lot of it has to do with my younger brother, Doug. Doug's the big wrestling fan. Mm-hmm. And every like pay-per-view, he'd be like, we got to order the pay-per-view. We got to order the pay-per-view. And I'm like, all right, cool. And that was back in like the Attitude Era, right? So you had your like Stone Cold and The Rock and the Hardy Boys, and like what a great time to be a wrestling fan, seriously. So
I caught just the tail end.
Yeah, you kind of got caught up in those storylines too, and you know, just that whole time and the talent and some of the things that you watch. I mean, think about Mankind and all the crazy shit he would do, and you would just, I don't know, there's always just something about it. And then the pay-per-views were always, in that time, in my opinion, were always so great. It didn't matter which one it was. Like right now, for me, it's like WrestleMania is it, and the rest of the pay-per-views kind of fall flat. But back then, I mean, you had King of the Ring, Hell in a Cell, like TLC, like all those great pay-per-views and all those great talent and the stories, and just so by proxy, I kind of just fell in love with it too. And I went to my first wrestling show when I was in high school. And it was a pay-per-view for, I think it was King of the Ring, and we had great seats, and like that, just being in there and like just experiencing that. I think you obviously you don't see as much when you are live because you're kind of farther away from the action when you watch it on TV. But I think there's something to be said in the arena during a live wrestling event, and you can feel the crowd and you can feel the energy. And then, you know, the heels get on the mic and they talk mad shit and you're just booing them. And, you know, they're getting off on that because heel heat is the best heat in my personal opinion. So that's how that all just kind of started. And then we started going to more like indie wrestling, like, because my brother was such a huge wrestling fan. Mom would be like, take your brother to the show. All right, come on, Doug, get in the car. So and then I made a lot of friends doing that. And I dated some wrestlers that did the circuit, and I would follow them around to shows. And so I met a lot of the independent wrestlers and, you know, that kind of field. And I think that's why I still love it to this day, you know, and go and support the independent wrestlers that are trying to be up and comers, you know, and if they make it, great. If they don't, they're still hometown heroes, essentially. So
yeah, I also, like I said, I caught the tail end of Attitude. I never got to see a pay-per-view live, but we did go to I think we went to SmackDown twice and we went to Raw once. And I remember when I was a kid, I was like maybe 9, maybe 10. Was first one we saw was SmackDown. And to date this story, this was during I met Matt Hardy, and this was during Magnitude, like version 1, his first real heel run, which he was a pretty good heel. I would say. So I met Matt Hardy and Tori Wilson. Like my mom and dad got me like the actual like meet and greet thing too. And now on our way in, I meet in the parking lot. Like we just happened to be walking up around the same time, and somebody was brave enough to like motion them over. So I got a free meet and greet of the Big Show and Rey Mysterio.
Nice.
So especially because Rey Mysterio is still to this day my favorite wrestler. And he was back then. So the fact that I got to like accidentally meet my favorite one was like so cool to me. Also, getting to see Rey Mysterio next to the Big Show in real life was insane. Now, Big Show is not exactly 7 foot. They exaggerate. He's not 500 pounds either. He's only like maybe like 330 something maybe. Still though, massive piece of humanity. And Ray was like my height at 9.
Yeah.
So
he probably looked like he was trying to kidnap him or something.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, let me have a mask. No, kidding. That would have been weird. I wrote him a letter asking for a mask though.
Did you?
Yeah, because that was less creepy.
Of course.
Yeah, writing letters in the 2000s is way less creepy than just saying it to their face.
Now you could just slide into his DMs.
Like, yo, Dominic said you're too much of a pussy to give me a mask.
Exactly.
But no, I remember that first time seeing SmackDown. I was so disappointed when the match started, when the whole event started, because I didn't realize you couldn't hear Taz and Michael Cole. You couldn't hear the commentary. So naturally, I just did my own up there. And I was entertaining people around me enough too, even as a 9-year-old, because like I was so into it. I knew like every single hole and every all the stats and shit. And and then I fell out of it. And then I have a nephew that's like 9, and just hearing him like talking about it and stuff, it sort of got me back into the fold. Now as an adult, I love it because of the theatricality of it. Like I enjoy when they nailed a good storyline. And again, just watching heels work. Heels are carry.
For sure.
Heels carry wrestling companies. Faces are boring.
But I agree with you to a certain point on that. Like, definitely heel heat is the best heat in my opinion. But also, who doesn't love a good underdog story though? Like that. Well,
that is right though. Like,
yes,
Mysterio's
for sure. And then and just now, like that whole Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens bringing down
the bloodline.
The bloodline. That was a good, although it just irritates me. So I feel like they're dragging that storyline out way too
much.
But
that needed to die out a couple months ago.
For sure.
Like they were like, I think they were literally all they were doing was they were trying to like bring down Triple H's reign of terror. I think they were trying to break his record, or like even when JBL was like always walking away with the title no matter what. Like I think that I'm not to talk shit. I'm not a big. I'm still to this day I'm not a big Roman guy.
Me neither.
He's not that good in the ring. He's better at the mic than he used to be, but there's better performers.
Well, and that's that was to my point is, are you telling me right now there's no one in the back that deserves that title over Roman Reigns?
No. I mean, fuck, I wanted Cody to win it.
Yes.
Because again, real dog story, that dude's he has put in his time.
For sure.
I mean, he was basically the next, Kofi or Daniel Bryan. And then when Rhea Ripley got the win over Charlotte the first night of WrestleMania, I knew damn well that Roman was walking out with the title because they weren't going to give both of the organic pushes the title.
Yeah.
So when they gave it to Rhea, I was even like, God damn it, Roman's walking away with the title. And sure enough.
Yeah. It would have been great though. That would have been a great place to do it, honestly. But I kind of now understand why they didn't, because I think people went into it expecting that was going to happen, that Roman was going to drop the title.
Yeah. Nope, not to anyone except for Goldberg.
Oh God.
Yeah, they'll bring him back to put away Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
I was like, Roman's not even my favorite guy to use the spear either. I'm even though he doesn't have the size, I like Edge's spear best when he really hits it.
Oh, Edge is in my top 3.
Yeah,
all-time favorite. So.
Yeah, and even like as a heel, he was an excellent heel, but he's one of the few that even just has a face. I'm like, I'm down with. I mean, his greatest heel work was off screen with Lita, but then the on screen heel work with Lita was okay as well. Yeah, I feel bad for my boy Matt though. It was a tough break, but. Oh well, I mean, maybe that spawned his heel turn too. Oh, speaking of that, so back to that meet and greet though. My parents were with me, and we met Tori Wilson as well. And even at 9, when I was, I still wasn't on board with women yet. Even I was like, damn,
right?
Like she's like
Smoke
card from Angels, yes. Like dad, even with my mom, right within elbow range. Like, I mean, I could hear the drool hitting the floor from his mouth.
For sure.
Yeah. And this was also right when she did Playboy. And so I think she was also largely kind of promoting that too. And I turned to my dad and he's like, you should get her magazine. At 9, I did not really know what Playboy was. Right. And again, my mom shot me a dirty look, shot him a dirtier look. And my dad is even like, well, again, he was speechless, because he was.
It would have been better if your dad was like, I already got it.
Yeah, right. But no, so yeah, that was that, and like I said, I started going to Indy. I also know of there's a couple comedians also that like they got their start in amateur wrestling, and they got into comedy kind of to help their mic skills.
I can see a good correlation between that.
Yes, and because well, one of them's definitely a heel. I think two of them run face, but one's definitely a heel. And now they're all better comedians than they are wrestlers. So like they've made the shift from that. I don't know. Like one of these days, I'd love to, even if I just do like commentary, do like a guest spot or whatever. I obviously had dreams of being a wrestler when I was like way young and stuff. And do I have a character in my head right now and custom moves? Of course I do.
Of course you do.
But with my ankles and my knees the way they are now, I don't think that's going to happen. That's why I went to comedy. You just got to stand there, hold a mic, talk about your dick. It's an easy gig.
Easy gig.
Yeah. Also, you're a big fan of Pokemon too.
Yes.
I'll say, talking about Pokemon, who's your favorite?
Oh gosh, that's a really tough one. Probably Jigglypuff, like an OG.
Okay, all right.
I don't know why. I just think like Jigglypuff is super cute.
Yes.
And round and puffy, and I kind of relate to that. And I'm like, oh look, it's my spirit animal. So
always holding a microphone.
Yeah, like singing all the time. I mean, tell me that's not me. So yeah, I think maybe that's why. Like I feel like a deep connection with Jigglypuff. But again, this all stems back from my brother. He was really like, because when Pokemon came out, he was pretty young, and like that was like, I think at that time that was kind of the demographic they were going for, because it was kind of cartoony, kind of anime. And the cards were super big, and so everyone had to have their Pokemon cards. And I think I was in maybe middle school or high school when Pokemon, I think I was in high school, because I was a little bit older. And so everyone got the cards, like that was huge. And my brother was really into Pokemon. So I just thought the characters were cool. I was like, oh, they're cute. And then Pokemon Go came and solved world peace for like 3 days.
Yes.
And my nephew at the time was like, you have to get Pokemon Go. You have to get Pokemon Go. And I was like, all right, I guess. Like he had a rough go of it. So I was like, all right, I was spending some time with him. And I thought it was something that we could do like fun as a family. Didn't realize how addicting that game was going to be. Because then not only are you getting some good exercise, right? Because you're walking around catching all these Pokemon, but just the pure excitement when that game came out at first, and everyone was like, "Oh, there's a blah 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 over here," and you would just see people like you would think it was like Black Friday, right? Like people were just running to catch these Pokemon. And again, like I said, for like 3 days, I'm pretty sure we had world peace.
Yes,
and I still now avidly, I'm one of the few that still play every single day, because now I've invested so much time, energy, and money into this game. It's like you're pot committed, right? It's like a poker game. Like you have to keep playing to keep your streak alive, because you've caught so many damn Pokemon.
Yes.
And, they're still bringing out new ones all the time. And so then you have to, like, got to catch them all, right? And so now it's almost like crack. Like you just have to keep doing it. So.
Yeah. I'm that way with, there's an app called Untapped. Where it's like a craft beer app. That's the way I feel with that. Even though I barely drink anymore, I still keep it, because again, when I started drinking, I went like so hard on it that it was like I racked up so many badges, because it's like Pokemon for alcoholics.
Yours sounds way cooler than mine.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, you get badges. Sometimes you get coupons, so like it actually will like. Is save you money in the long run, but I got in. My first one was gold, so I didn't get in on the ground floor. I'm a Gen 2er, but I played gold and changed my life. Now that being said, I didn't know anything about it. Internet was still barely a thing. So like I didn't understand anything about type matchups. So I had a level 100 Typhlosion, and then my next strongest was like a level 30 Pidgeotto. Like I was using Quilava for everything, Ember for everything. And sometimes I'm like, man, why is Lance so hard? Like, probably because it's dragon and it's not very effective.
Right.
And the one that, you know, made me like almost end it all at the tender age of 8 was Whitney's Miltank. Because again, fire type Quilava and roll out super effective. Not only, of course, because Miltank's a defense tank and it gets stronger in return. So yeah, I just me like screaming and like gripping my Game Boy, almost breaking it. Of like, why is Ember not working right now?
I still get that way on Pokemon Go. Half the time I think that I know, and then I have to like Google like, how do I do this? Because apparently I don't know what I'm doing. So thank God for the internet. Yes. How did we survive before the internet?
I don't know, because like if it wasn't for the internet, this wouldn't be happening right now.
Very true.
My other job would be way harder. With comedy, my day job would be a little harder. Like if I was going to a part of town I didn't know and I needed directions, that would have been about it. But yeah, man, the internet's it's great. Even when it's bad, I know at this point it's a Louis C.K. bit where he actually talked about like people complain about like slow internet. It's like, yeah, give it time. It's going to fucking space. And back. Like you know how lucky you are to get to do this. Yeah. Kings haven't lived this good. Yeah. So yeah. But yeah, anyway, so the Pokemon thing also, so I was out without a PlayStation for like the last 7 months. So I've been solely reliant on like Nintendo Switch, and by that I mean just Pokemon. Yeah. Because I can't remember the last Nintendo system I had where I had any other games besides Pokemon. Like that's the ultimate like supply and demand, is just making new systems because they make a new Pokemon that only works on it. Like I played Sword and Shield because I bought them both at the same time.
Did you?
Yeah. And like speaking of, you want to talk about a game that's just so disappointing because so much of it's good. There's so many things they did right. It was just basically, it's like they pulled it out of the oven like 5 minutes too early. And it's very doughy in places because of it. But the outer edges are perfect. It's just like get right in the middle there. And by that, I mean graphics, frame rates. Well, the graphics fine. It's mostly just that frame rate that really fucking takes you out. So like the actual Pokemon itself's great. The region's great. Some of the storyline, like little Arvin or whatever, is actually like a pretty compelling, like little side storyline. And yeah, then Sword and Shield too, which again I got way into that. Also, just to let you know how into that I was making curry like every day, so I could also eat curry with my Pokemon.
That's deep.
It is. Oh, you have no idea. You should have seen me when I started playing Red Dead 2. Holy fuck. I made stew on my fire pit. It's the last time I've used my fire pit. I actually borrowed like a rigging thing, and on a big old cast iron Dutch oven made stew in the dead of winter. I didn't get bear.
I was like, why is there a horse in your backyard?
There was venison, yeah. Just a half dissected deer in my backyard.
I can see it. It's kind of like when I watched Yellowstone for the first time and like bought a cowboy hat like a week later because you're just so in it. Like, yeah, I wanted to book trips to Montana and like, I want to go. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, and then you get to Montana and you immediately realize like, wow, it's pretty. But man, I wish I wasn't in Montana.
Right. Like there is nothing here. Nothing. Yeah. But no, I get the Pokemon thing. I also think Pokemon was very smart when they like, hey, if you want exclusive content for Pokemon Go, you have to play Sword and Shield and unlock it. And then the two systems talk to each other. And I was like, that is marketing gold right there. So
yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, buying like a $300 system every like 3 or 4 years just because, I needed to play the next generation of Pokemon. Which generation is your favorite?
Oh God. a great
Because I mean,
question.
between your original interest in Pokemon and then, of course, young Maxwell also being in it as well.
He is really in it. Like
Yeah.
I think he is more in it than I am.
Yeah.
Which is great because I'll get back to your question, but having a child makes doing kid things so much easier and less creepy. Because oh, you want to go play on the swing set at the park? Yeah, you can because you totally got your kid with you, and that doesn't look weird like you're trying to be like a pedo or anything, right?
Right.
If you try to do that as a grown-ass adult by yourself, you look super creepy.
Yeah.
So, and I enjoy those kinds of things.
Which is
like,
why I'm also not allowed at Mount Burlington anymore.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes. The whole like 500 feet from the school thing too as well. Okay.
Yeah.
I understand. So Destin's off the pickup my child list. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. Do not call me for that.
Okay. Noted. I enjoy, obviously everyone loves first gen Pokemon because it's the OG, right? The third is not bad.
Third's my second.
What one's your favorite?
2.
Is it?
And it's not just because that's where I got my start. That was the one that gave you like actual like post Pokemon League shit to do.
Yeah.
What's the one? Sword and Shield. I mean, there's one little storyline after that, and then after that, there's nothing. You can't like rematch the Elite Four. You can't do anything again. So that's one big gripe I had with that. But yeah, like Gold, Silver, and Crystal.
Yeah.
They gave you like almost a whole ass other game after you originally completed the Johto side. Then you got to do the Kanto, and also like it was kind of really cool getting to see Kanto 3 years later, and just like you remember this, and now it's like, oh, now you see what time has done.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Cinnabar Island. The entirety of that one was way heavy, especially for a kid's game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you remember where you used to go fossils and like, you know, you get like they have like lava burgers. Yeah, it's just a giant rock in the middle of the ocean now because of volcanic activity.
I mean, Pokemon can get dark though. Like it really can.
Yes.
For a quote unquote children's game, it's dark.
I wanted like if I ever get into like sort of like video essay-ish type of videos on YouTube, I really want to do like a top 10 or maybe a top 10. I also would love to do like a public survey thing where I go up to people on the street and I read them a Pokedex description of a ghost type Pokemon, and I'm like, all right, is this an actual serial killer or a ghost Pokemon? Some of the ghost Pokemon, some of the Pokedex entries are the most depraved, awful, fucked up shit I've ever read with my own eyes. And again, especially, you know, ghost types.
Yes.
What was it? Because also I played Pokemon Arceus, which also that game, holy shit, is great. There's the one ghost type, and it's like a whole side story where the idea is that like it leads kids away and then like kills them like when no one can see. Shit.
I don't know which one that is.
I'm blanking, but like, yeah, just you read that Pokedex entry.
So it's like a Pennywise Pokemon.
Yes. Yeah. And it's a 4th gen, so like that should try to narrow it down maybe. That's
I'm gonna look it up.
4th gen is one that most people will say is the worst, and I say, how dare you not give that heat to Gen 5? Black and white, it's the worst. I actually don't like the graphics because like they did like a whole new style. I just didn't like it. And then the region requires some backtracking. There's not that many good Pokemon. I just think Gen 5 is incredibly whack. Gen 4, admittedly, I think I only like as much because it gave us Empoleon.
Mm-hmm.
And then also from here on out, I will going back to Gen 3 now, which again is like my second favorite. I rate any new games like a big when I'm rating it, I have a whole section, and it's just a yes or no, which is, can I get Gardevoir in this game? And if it's one of the ones I can't, I hate it.
Really?
Gen 5, can't get Gardevoir. Gen 6, can, it's okay. Gen 7, can't get it. Oh, no, that's Sun and Moon. That one's okay. I'm a big Gardevoir fan. Next to Empoleon, Gardevoir is probably my second favorite.
Okay.
And then to be a classic bro, Charizard, number 3.
Yeah, of course. I think everyone has to have the staples. Everyone has like their favorite in the staples, right?
Yeah, of the OGs, Charizard's my favorite. To be the typical boy.
That was my very first Pokemon I caught in Pokemon Go.
Yep. Oh, really?
Yeah, because you've played Go, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so like when you very first start the game, they give you one of the like OG 5 to catch, like as your very first Pokemon.
Yes.
And I don't know why, but I wanted Pikachu so bad, just because it's Pikachu, right? Like you're gonna start the game off, you should get Pikachu.
Yeah.
Roll, right? And then it was freaking Charizard, and I was like, all right, I guess it's better than Squirtle, so I caught. Right? And then when I got my first Pikachu, I remember this to this day, thinking it was like, at the time it was kind of elusive, but I was at Shade on 30th Street and it came up, like it's nearby. I remember running out the door, like running into the parking lot to catch this Pikachu. And there was only a 10 CP. It was like weak as shit, but I was so excited. I was like, I got my first Pikachu. Now they're like a dime a dozen, but at the time, and it's funny because they talk about like Pokemon like solving world peace for that time. Like you remember those things. Like you remember where you caught like your favorite ones because you like were so excited because you're like, oh man, I really wanted that one. I caught it. And yeah, it's just funny that like certain things, especially in that time, and because I was driving, I went to places in Ohio that I had never been before because people were telling us like, oh, there's Nest there. That's a great place to catch Pokemon. Yeah. And so, it got me traveling. I got to see parks that I never been to, and
was on 23, the Blendon or not Blendon, whatever that is. That park on 23 going north, we would go there all the time because that was like a huge Charmander nest.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember this. I only played it for like a year, and the thing is, my day job is so perfect for Pokemon.
It really is.
But it was like. It was just so hard, and I hated draining my battery the whole day because, man, it chewed through battery, especially in the early stages.
Yeah, I'm not going to try to get myself into trouble, but my work is seriously messed up because there's 2 Pokestops at my work. So I'll just sit there and casually turn my phone on and catch and spin those stops so I can replenish my balls. I can get eggs. I can, and every now and again I'll see somebody has put a lure up too, and I'm like, I see you. Yeah. I see you. Someone else in this building's playing Pokemon Go too. So that makes that a little more enjoyable in the office, being able to spin Pokestops.
When it was hot and heavy in it, a big one was Steak and Shake.
Yes.
Back when you used to be able to go into Steak and Shake, and it was 24 hours.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the spot.
One of the few places you could actually sit and do something and spin your Pokestop.
Yep. So we would hang out there till 1. We'd have milkshakes, fryers, all that shit. And then fortunately, everyone. But when someone would put a lure up, because at that point we were all very aware that we were all Pokemon going, they couldn't be humble about it. No, the person would stand up and they would even be like, "You're welcome."
Yeah.
And we're like, "Thank you."
Yeah. It's still pretty big even in this area to this day. I belong to a couple groups that will get together and do raids and stuff like that. But this past Saturday was a community day. And so that's kind of your tell, is based on who you see out during these big events. And I went down to the campus because you can drive around and catch and spin. And I bought one of those gotchas that'll catch automatically so I can drive and let the thing do the work for me. It's totally lazy and awesome.
Yeah. So back in my day, I risked killing people.
Yeah, exactly. I was I risked driving my car into a pond. I almost walked into poles many a time, still do. But because you gotta catch them all. Right. But
that's how I feel about diseases of the sexual transmitted variety.
Yes. you're trying to sleep with them all.
Yes.
I'm trying to catch them all. So
Yes.
that's a big difference. But there's still there were quite a few people out at campus. Like there were lure modules all over the place. If you go downtown a lot, you'll see a lot of people still out doing it. And that makes me feel good that there's still that community. There's still people getting out. It's getting people out of the house and enjoying especially when we had really nice weather, so that's good. I bought a Dawes membership just not so that I could go be one with nature, but there's so many Pokestops there that I can drive around and hit. So I still have my Dawes membership to this day so that I can catch Pokemon.
Nice. Yeah, but no, that Pokemon Go really was, it brought a lot of people together, much like karaoke. So Saturday after our comedy show at the Cody Caitlin's Art Gallery, we Mandy, who was on the show, I was messaging with her and I made the mention of karaoke after party afterwards, and apparently her and her family are big time karaokeers, and but the thing is, unfortunately, I was even does she mean it though? Because again, the thing with us comedians, you never know when we're being sarcastic or jokey,
right,
or when we actually mean it. And then when we're in the back green room for our show, she pulls out her list, and that's when I knew, okay, yeah, she's legit. If she has a karaoke list, she's real deal.
And have you noticed most people that are everyone has a list, right?
Yeah.
If you're really into karaoke, you have a list. Everyone has a list.
Yeah. I'll do even better. I have a Spotify playlist.
Oh, I'm an Apple girl, but I have an Apple playlist. Yeah. So,
I have one for that. I have one for songs that I like and trying to learn acoustically.
Nice.
But yeah, there's my standards, and there's ones that I was I want to be standards. And then so that's another thing is I always love finding people that again do actually take it kind of seriously, because as a reformed hater, now I'm down for it. And problem is also I have such a hard time shutting off comedy Destin though sometimes, between ad libs or also that's where it's really hard for me to shut it off is during instrumental breaks, because a certain member of the boys, I'm not going to mention who, his name rhymes with damn though, always picks songs with these fucking huge instrumental breaks, because he likes jam bandy kind of shit. So that's where I had to ad lib something. And one I'm proud of though, I'll pat myself right now. One I am proud of though was again back when I was a KJ, I was filling in some time, and I was doing "Killing in the Name of" by Rage Against the Machine. And you get, the guitar solo of it. It takes a little while. And I start ad-libbing all this, really, political, rally kind of shit. And I timed it out right to where it starts the bridge. And I was into the United States Dental Association, that says that I have to brush my teeth. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck. And there was a lady, kind of right in the front. She was kind of middle-aged, but she heard that and she spit took.
Nice.
My first spit take was not even through actual comedy, it was through karaoke. Also, my one and only true ankle injury was during karaoke, because I was doing Walk by Pantera, and right at the end, where I used to do karaoke, there was back when they had a stage before they tore it down. There was a stage that was maybe about that high off the ground, and right after the "Walk Oh Boys," and for that last I jumped off because I was in the moment, and I just really forgot how short that jump really was, because I really went for it, and I came down and I landed on my right ankle just so hard. And immediately, I'm hopping around on one leg, and people think I'm doing some advanced hardcore dancing. No. I was no, I think I sprained my ankle. That's all it is.
My two favorite Destin karaoke moments are, and they're interchangeable, I think they were just both great, is when you talk about when you're doing Pantera, when you incited that freaking snowball fight at the hub.
Yes.
And the video is actually what makes that great because there's just you going and then people just, and if you didn't know any better, you would know that those were like soft. You would think they were throwing like maybe balls or like actual snowballs at each other inside. So just the pure comedy of that is what makes that whole thing great.
Yeah, I don't know why they brought in that giant thing of snowballs that night, but
I'm glad
I saw that. I was like, you know what? Today was it was December 8th to perfectly date the story because that was when Dimebag passed away, and I was like, it's all coming together. I was like Kronk. I'm like, oh yeah, it's all coming together.
Yeah.
And it was really entertaining too because like I'm up there again, like Kristen said, it was like Billy Madison up there. Of me like still trying to sing, which that was so hard. Like I've sang that better because normally I'm just standing there just trying to do that. But then while I'm also like moshing and like throwing snowballs on stage.
What I can't wait is when they actually go to tear down that stage and they find like 2 or 3 like carrots of those snowballs.
That like got like in behind.
They're like brown and dust covered and just gross at that point.
Yeah. Speaking of Pantera as well. So I remember the very first time I ever got a chance to do stand up in Worthington. I was like, I have to do one joke that I can only do there. And it turns out the place was like maybe about 2 minutes away from Alrosa Villa where it was. And I was like, so it's actually my first time in Worthington. And I was like, I got out, I parked, about a block away. And as soon as I get in my car, like I look at my feet and there's a bag of weed just like out in the open. I'm like, what is it with Worthington, Ohio, leaving dime bags on the sidewalk? And it did not get a laugh.
No, I bet it did not. Wow.
Yeah. I was like, I knew I had to do it. And I was even like, it probably won't go well, but I have to as an artist.
Yeah. So, and then probably my favorite is the night after your horror roast that you guys did and you all came in character to karaoke was probably my favorite just because everyone looked so good. Like costumes were great. Song choice was perfect.
Yeah.
It was just, and I don't think people were really expecting that. And the bar was packed. So it just makes that so much better when like random shenanigans happen. So
yes. Yeah. I walked in there and the thing is I didn't take my mask off for like the first 15, 20 minutes. And also the pure chef's kiss of Michael Myers singing Every Breath You Take by the Police. And I did that live too, like a couple, back in January. Because it was, or no, when was it? It might have been shortly after that. But like I did a set as Michael Myers, but it wasn't like a roast set. It was more of just a traditional stand set. But I ended it with me doing the whole song. And there was, I now know her. But there was this girl like just sitting right at the lip there, like right next to us. And she was like, I noticed she was like filming us doing Dragula. And I immediately get in on her face or in the camera and everything. And I'm like doing like a fake killing her thing. Again, perfect stranger at this point. So, I was like the character, I'm getting lost in the character. And afterwards I go out, I finally do take the mask off. And then when she sees me, she's even like, wait, I know you. And then come to find out I deliver her mail.
Nice.
So yeah, I was like, so now that's like extra awkward, but
I mean,
we're cool now.
Yeah. No, there were probably people that still to this day don't know that was you.
Yes, that would have left beforehand. Yes, they would have just literally thought that Michael Myers took a union break from killing and
decided to come sing some karaoke.
Yeah.
I would like to believe that actually is what he does.
Yeah, I think all serial killers deep down have a song in their hearts.
For sure.
And in most cases, it's Dragula, but
some it's Maneater.
Some, yes. We all know Richard Ramirez's would be AC/DC, the Night Stalker.
Oh my gosh.
Like he that's where he directly took that from.
For sure.
The song Night Stalker. And then Helter Skelter for any Manson heads out there.
Wow.
Speaking of, do you know that like Rob Zombie and Marilyn Manson actually did a cover of Helter Skelter?
No.
It's disappointing.
Really?
Yeah, I expected
That's
so much
sad.
more. Yeah, it was flat. Like not like tonally speaking. Well, okay, also tonally speaking, but yeah, there's just it didn't live up to expectation.
A lot of covers don't, though, unfortunately. Some do.
Yeah.
Like every now and again, one will come out that you're like either it's better than the original or it's really close, right?
Yeah, but they can't all be Holding Out for a Hero by Fairy Godmother.
Exactly.
But I remember there was a cover I even tried doing. I think it was Seether's Careless Whisper, and I straight up like messed up my voice for like 2 or 3 weeks after that.
That's a great song in general.
It is. It's a great song. I like their rendition of it.
I do too.
But yeah, I remember like getting to that bridge and like me still trying to full force it out. Yeah, I took weeks off of my voice for that song. But anyway, we cleared the record earlier of Nothing Cool Happens Bandcamp. We're going to wrap it up. So we do need to clear a record for karaoke.
Yes.
And I will go ahead and defer that one to you.
It has a lot to do with songs that are staples that people love to sing that deep down we really hate. And for me, and there may be karaoke DJs that have different.
I've heard KJs that will attest that this is pretty universal.
But for me, it has to be Picture by Kid Rock and Sheryl Crow. And what's sad is I actually enjoyed the song, or I did, right? Like it was like that's a good song, good message, right?
Yeah, the first 5 or 10 times you heard it.
Right. Yes. But why do I have to hear it at every single show every week? I mean, I want to get one of those signs that says it's been like 0 days without incident. Like I want to get one of those that's like it's been 7 days since we've heard Picture. And but we would never get up
1 week since you looked at me.
Yeah, and it's been 3 damn days. I don't know. Like that song makes me just want to kick kittens. I'm sorry, it really does. Like it makes me so angry, and people now know that makes me so angry, and I feel like a lot of people do it now just to like mess with me, and like when Destin will come up not to
point fingers
in my rotation that he wants to sing Picture. And so now it's like this big joke, right? Like everyone's like, I want to sing Picture, but like the people that genuinely don't, and they just really want to come sing it because they're drunk and rednecky or whatever. That song I think is going to mysteriously get deleted out of my hard drive. Like if virus came and ate it, or someone also suggested maybe making that like a $20 in the tip jar song. So like that would be very lucrative.
You could tell people that song drank it away or drank itself away or whatever. My time as a KJ, I count my lucky stars that I only ever had to hear that song maybe 4 times. And the thing is, because I ran my karaoke off of the KaraFun app. And it for a long time did not have that song on the regular app. It was on the community section. But because I also at the time, I didn't really understand how to work the community section. So I just had to tell people, it's like, we don't have it. And they're like, what do you mean you don't have Picture?
Right.
I was like, don't have it. I would turn it around. I would show them, and they're like, wow, he doesn't have Picture.
Right.
My version, though, from my time was Cult 45.
Mm-hmm.
And again, big fan of the song the first 10, 15 times I heard it. And I still do stand by my argument that it should be the national anthem over the Star Spangled Banner.
I can see that.
Because, one, it actually promotes interracial equality and coexisting. References many of the states.
Sure does.
And their great contributions to the world. Star Spangled Banner, none of that.
I never really thought about that, but yeah, that totally makes sense.
Yeah. But that being said, though, once again, I was okay with it the first couple times, but then once I realized it was like the Undertaker's WrestleMania streak. Once I realized it was a thing, then like it was such an ever present. Like, everyone was thinking about it, and yeah, you would get. And it really got worse when we got like a new bartender that night, and she was bringing all of these very broy college guys that were all trying to fuck her, and they of course all had to do Colt 45. So that's when it really started like chipping away at my soul.
Yeah.
And I'd go up there, and I even like when I'm about to introduce it, I would let the crowd know that I didn't want to hear this song anymore. With all of you, like how you tell people, like, yeah, it's time for my favorite song ever. Like, I can't wait to hear the song again. Like, I've been missing it since last week.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, I mean, you asked the question, like, why do people have to do it? And like, I mean, I have the answer. You don't want to hear it though.
What's that?
Because it is the official song of two drunk people that are trying to fuck that night. Like, that is very much like the guys hitting on the girls, like, we should sing a song. And the Bud Light's talking to him, and well, now not Bud Light because that's good.
Yeah.
Now the Busch Light is talking to him, and he's like, "Let's do a picture." So like, anytime you see two drunk people,
you're saying I should like actually embrace it because it's going to bring people together
physically. Yes. Okay. Yeah, that song does physically bring people together in the back of a truck and
in the parking lot.
Yeah, in the parking lot.
Okay.
I mean, like, there's Broken by Seether that's becoming one of those kind of songs, I feel.
You sing that a lot, Destin. That actually
well,
sense.
No. Hold your horses. Only one of the times I sang that, I was trying to fuck. And I distinctly remember you, like, kind of, like, visually, giving me the side eye, like, calling me out on it. Like, it's when Tina and I do. That was not the case there. But, like, I think it was the karaoke after New Year's. There was this like really cute girl that, like.
Is that when you got the handy under the table?
No, that was at one of my comedy shows. Actually.
No, that happened at Jugs.
It did. Oh yeah.
When we were outside.
Well, it was. Oh yeah, it was her. That was her style. That was her move. That's right.
That's your go-to. Handies under the table.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. See, I forgot about the one at Jugs. I remember the one because after my comedy show and she was doing it, like, I was really trying to have like an actual conversation with somebody else. She was, just right there next to me, and the entire time I'm actually like smacking her away for a second, and then she's like thinking that's like, oh, harder. I'm like, no, I'm trying to be civilized here. Would save that for Jugs where I can be less civilized.
Right, of course, everything at Jugs.
Yeah. I was like, drink. The new age, live, laugh, love, drink, fuck, fight. Like,
we need to get a sign and put that in Jugs.
I'm thinking of doing that as like an actual merch thing. Like, go, make a stencil of it, like nice calligraphy, and then like just go like Home Depot, get like a whole bunch of wood, chop it up and sell it at my shows for like $10 a pop.
That's a great idea.
I think so. Yeah. My merch I'll be rolling out later this summer, and like, I'm proud of it already. Although I hate that there was like two. Oh yeah, you heard my album release show. There was like two of those shirts that like I forgot the bit on the special, so now people are gonna see them. Like, what's that referring to?
Right.
Like, it's referring to a joke that I forgot when the camera's rolling. Shut up. But yeah, But yeah, so if you learn anything from this, don't do picture.
Don't. Dick move.
Also, don't support K-Rock's homophobia too. That's gay. Being homophobic is very gay.
Yes.
So anyway, we're gonna wrap it up here. But like I said, DJ Tammi as well. Again, doing karaoke all over. Also hire her for any event. She does anything from birthday parties, bar mitzvahs. album release shows for comedy specials, aka Grown Up, which you can get on Spotify, Amazon Prime, iTunes. And yeah, Brisses, hire her for
sure.
For your Briss.
Absolutely.
And
I'm half the man I used to be.
Cut my dick into pieces.
Oh, the playlist builds itself.
Right. What is the deepest?
Oh.
Maybe I'm not. So yes. Anyway, DJ Tammi, karaoke, KJ extraordinaire, Briss expert.
Apparently.
Yeah.
I got a fire playlist for that, guys.
Yes. Also hire her for any Pokemon Go parties.
Yes.
Virus show or wrestling match. But yeah, anywhere they can follow you to support you though.
Yeah. You can follow me on Facebook at DJ Tammi. I think it's actually at DJ Tammi O because DJ Tammi was taken. Lame. But it was
DJ baloney, and now they make you add number.
Yeah. So you can follow me on Facebook. My schedule will be there, my weekly lineup, so you'll know where I'm at for all my shows. And if you come out to a show, I take lots of pictures, videos. They're all up there.
You said picture.
Oh, fuck my life. You can see a lot of Destin live action karaoke shots.
Sometimes they're good.
I am horrible at taking live action karaoke pictures. Yeah. I go to post them and I look and I'm like, oh, they are not going to be happy with me today. But, we all have fun. It's good.
Well, it's also the subject you had to work with, too. I mean,
I catch everyone in like the worst.
Yeah.
It looks like you're just deep throating the microphone.
Yeah,
it's just bad.
Yeah. I mean, with this, you already have one hand tied behind your back, basically. So, but yeah. Anyway, DJ Tammi, again, thank you for
having me.
Again, if you're a karaoke hater, give it another chance. Open up your heart.
Yeah.
And your mind.
And your money. And your wallet.
Well, I was saving that one for last. Eager beaver over there. Open up your heart, your mind, and your wallet.